Remember ripping open a birthday card as a kid and finding a crisp Treasury savings bond tucked inside? You couldn't spend it that day, yet adults around looked at you proud, as if they slipped a small seed of security into your pocket. They would smile and say, "Hold on to this, one day it will matter." That ritual taught an entire generation the value of patience, thrift, and believing in the future. For baby boomers, the Treasury bills were the safest wheels on the financial wagon. In the late 70s, you could lock in double-digit yields and watch inflation cool. Even during quieter decades, a bond gifted at birth could double by graduation day. It made perfect sense when the dollar was sturdy and interest rates rewarded savers. Back in 1981, for example, the 6-month Treasury bill briefly yielded more than 16%. Every $100 you set aside nearly doubled in 5 years. Prices for milk and gasoline were climbing, but your coupons rose faster, so the bond didn't just store value, it grew it. That favorable math faded after the millennium. From 2009 through 2021, the average one-year T-bill, the yield sat below 1%, while the official consumer price index advanced around 2% per year. In plain English, a dollar in the bank quietly lost buying power each month. That slow bleed unsettles many grandparents who remember a time when saving was rewarded. Move the clock forward and the equation has changed. Short-term T-bills now pay a few percent, while everyday prices rise almost as fast. A bond yielding 4% in a year of 5% inflation quietly loses purchasing power. Meanwhile, your grandchildren are entering a world where money itself is becoming code, where a teenager with a smartphone can move money or value across oceans in seconds. The old paper bond is starting to feel like a rotary phone in an era of video chats. Enter Bitcoin. Created in 2009, it's run by open source software rather than a central bank, and its supply is forever capped at 21 million coins. Scarcity is baked in from day one. Imagine if the Treasury announced that no new dollars would ever be printed. That's the structural difference we're talking about, because supply is fixed. Price depends on demand, which has expanded from hobbyists to corporations and pension funds. Prices have soared and crashed and soared again, but anyone who held Bitcoin for 4 consecutive years has historically ended with more purchasing power, not less. Bitcoin also carries traits no government bond can match. It's divisible into 100 million units, so you can gift $5 worth as easily as 500. It's portable. A 12-word recovery phrase lets you cross a border with your entire net worth memorized. It's censorship resistant. No single authority can block transfer between willing parties. The network runs every hour of every day, settling value worldwide without a banker's signature. Transparency is baked in as well. Anyone can verify every transaction since inception, giving the system auditability that even Wall Street envies. Looking ahead, many central banks are experimenting with their own digital currencies, nicknamed CBDCs. While those projects promise speed, they still rely on policymakers who can inflate supply or track every transaction. Bitcoin, by contrast, is permissionless and apolitical. Gifting even a small amount is a vote for open financial rails in a future where privacy may be scarce. Another built-in feature worth noting is the 4-year halving. Roughly every 210,000 blocks on the blockchain, the reward that miners earn for securing the network, it's cut in half, slowing the issuance schedule. Past halvings in 2012, 2016, and 2020 each preceded multi-year bull market runs. Though nothing is guaranteed, the next halving arrives in 2028 and will reduce the annual inflation below that of gold. When your grandchild measures time in school years, these halvings serve as a natural milestone to revisit the gift and discuss what has changed in the world and in the value that you have set aside for them. Think of T-bills and Bitcoin as 2 different gifts wrapped in similar intentions. The bond whispers, "I trust my government to take care of you." Bitcoin replies, "I trust transparent code and a global network." The bond delivers predictable interest yet surrenders to inflation's slow erosion. Bitcoin delivers no coupon, but its scarcity acts like a rising tide over long horizons. The bond lives in vaults, Bitcoin lives in a password-protected wallet and crosses borders at the speed of email. There's also a lesson nested inside each gift. Handing a child a paper bond teaches passive discipline. Stash it away and forget about it. Handing them a bit of Bitcoin teaches active stewardship. They must learn basic digital security, recognize that keys equal ownership, and understand that money doesn't need to wear a presidential portrait to store value. In doing so, they confront ideas like privacy, inflation, decentralization that will shape their adult world. So how do you give Bitcoin without triggering technological vertigo? The simplest route is recurring purchase plan from a regulated brokerage like Coinbase. Link a bank account, pick an amount like $10 a week, and let the service buy it automatically for you. It feels like signing up for electronic savings bonds. Some baby boomers craft what they call a Bitcoin time capsule. They print a letter describing why Bitcoin matters to them, include screenshots of their purchase, slip a hardware wallet maybe into a sealed envelope, and instruct the family to open everything on the child's 18th birthday. Others might create a shared spreadsheet logging each monthly purchase so the grandkids can later see the steady habit behind the final total amount that they have in their wallet. Tech-savvy teens might even receive a Lightning wallet funded with a few thousand Satoshis, which is mere pennies basically, so they can experiment with micropayments, tipping friends online, or buying digital art, or developing a muscle memory for how this cashless world actually works. If you want extra security, transfer the coins to a hardware wallet. It's a small USB-like device that stores the private keys offline. It's the most secure way to go. Write down the recovery phrase, tuck the device in a fire safe, and include a printed note explaining what Bitcoin is and why you chose it. Estate attorneys now are adding language for digital assets so their heirs can inherit it smoothly. Multi-signature wallets even allow for 2 or 3 designated parties, say you, your spouse, and an attorney, to approve any movement guarding against both hackers and honest mistakes, or maybe not so honest mistakes. What about volatility? Yes, Bitcoin's price can drop a lot, 30% or more in a month. But over a 4-year stretch, its lowest values have remained above their previous major peaks. It's a stairway built from a jagged steps, frightening to watch daily, yet rewarding to climb patiently. Of course, volatility can be unnerving. One way to tame it is by sizing the gift correctly. Allocating even 5% of a legacy portfolio to Bitcoin introduces meaningful upside without jeopardizing overall stability. Think of it as planting a fruit tree in the garden. You don't replace the whole lawn with saplings, but 1 or 2 can enrich the harvest for decades. History puts the difference into focus. A $50 savings bond bought in 1970 is worth roughly $400 today, after inflation and interest. $50 put into Bitcoin in 2013, held until now, would be worth tens of thousands of dollars, even after the worst downturns. Past performance never guarantees the future, but direction does matter. What about taxes for this gift? Well, under current U.S. regulation, you can gift up to $19,000 per recipient in 2025 without triggering gift taxes. If the kids are minors, you could also hold the asset in a trust or a UTMA account until they reach the legal age. The logistics differ from handing over a bond, but the principle, it's identical. Transfer property today so it can grow tomorrow. Ultimately, choosing between a T-bill and Bitcoin depends on how you see the next 20 years. If you believe the future will echo the past, stick with bonds. If you suspect technology and debt are reshaping money, a small allocation to a scarce digital property might seem prudent. Picture your grandchild decades from now telling their own kids about the little odd hardware wallet that great-grandpa tucked into the time capsule. They may laugh at the gadget the same way you laugh at parchment certificates, but they will understand the intent: to send value through time using the best tool available. So the next time you browse greeting cards, pause. Ask whether the gift will matter when your grandchild is your age. Treasury bills once answered yes. Today, Bitcoin may answer louder. You don't have to become a trader or memorize cryptographic algorithms. All you need is the willingness to learn one new thing. Click buy, document what you did so the next generation can build upon it. That transforms generosity into a bridge between eras, paper to code, analog to digital, certainty to possibility. When you were young, someone looked at you and said, "The future deserves investment." Now it's your turn. Place a small piece of tomorrow in a form designed for tomorrow. Give Bitcoin. Let scarcity and time do the heavy lifting. And one day your grandchild will thank you not just for the money, but for the vision. If this video was of interest to you, and if you're interested in learning more about Bitcoin, I'd recommend watching this video next. If you haven't already, please subscribe, hit the like button, and I'll see you next time.